Okay, so one needle, comfortable amount of thread. Just ignore these units, and we need to start with, again, ignore everything behind my needle, all right? So start with, on your needle, 7 11-0s, an 8-0, 7 more 11-0s, and an 8-0. So we're doing little like loops to put our little when you're doing a right angle weave where you do your little loops and you add your little bead in the center. That's what we're doing. So again, ignore all this. Start with 7 11-0s, an 8-0, 7 more 11-0s, and then an 8-0. So this is what you should have. The same thing I have over here. So once you do that, you need to be coming out of, okay, once you do that, you need to be coming out of your 4th 11-0 on this side. So I'm over here on this side. Okay, I might loosen my stuff just so I can I can sew to that 4th one better. Okay, that will be the middle of my 7 11-0 beads, okay? So it's the middle bead of these 7 11-0s. I'm gonna put on my fire polish, and I'm coming out this way. Now I'm gonna go down this way on my middle bead on this side of these 11-0s, which would also be my 4th 11-0. So it's this one here in the center. Okay, and then once I do that, I'm gonna go back through my fire polish bead. And then I'm gonna go back out. I'm gonna pull tight. And then I'm gonna go back out of my 11-0 that I started at, which is my 4th one. This is my 4th one, and then I'm gonna go up the one above it, okay? So I'm coming out of 2 beads, 2 11-0s. So this is our first little unit. Now I'm going to square stitch 3 11-0s onto these 3 middle 11-0s, okay? So basically what you have is you have your, let's call this your top and your bottom of your fire polish. So on your top and bottom, you have 2 11-0s, an 8-0, and 2 11-0s. Same thing on the bottom, 2 11-0s, an 8-0, and 2 11-0s. On your sides that we're going to be attaching our units with are 3 and 3 11-0s. So I'm coming out of my 5th 11-0, which is before my 2, my 1, and my 2. And I'm going to square stitch 3 11-0s to these 3 11-0s here on the side. Okay, so there's one. And I'm gonna go down. And you can also do just ladder stitch on this part. You can just ladder stitch 3 11-0s. So I'm picking up my next one. I'm gonna go through this 11-0. And am I in frame? Yeah, I am. Through this 11-0. And like I was saying, you could just ladder stitch these. You don't have to square stitch, but I want a really tight fit. So that's why I'm doing, I'm square stitching these also. Okay, so I'm going through that one. So I've already added 2, and I'm gonna add 1 more, and I'm gonna go up this bead. Well, actually, I'm gonna go up all 3. These 3, see? And I'm gonna come down the 3 right here. Okay. And now I'm ready to do my next little unit for my fire polish. So now, since we already have our 3 beads here, we're going to be adding our bottom, our side 3 11-0s, and our top 11-0s with our 8-0. And we're using these, we already have these 3 11-0s. They're right here, okay? So let's pick up our bottom beads, 2 8-0s, 2 11-0s, an 8-0, 2 11-0s, and then our side, which will be 3 11-0s, and then our top, 2 11-0s, an 8-0, and 2 11-0s. So from here on out, once you've already completed your first unit, because your first unit you started with 11, 1 8-0, and 7 11-0s, an 8-0, and 7 11-0s, and an 8-0. But now, since that was your first one, but now since we've already begun and we have our 3 11-0s here, you're only going to be picking up your bottom, your side, and your top. So you will be picking up from now on 2 11-0s, an 8-0. Can you see that? 2 11-0s, an 8-0, followed by 7, 2, 3, 2, followed by 7 11-0s, and then 2 8-0s. So 2 11-0s. Again, 2 11-0s, an 8-0, 7 11-0s, an 8-0, and 2 11-0s. And then we're going to come back around and go down these 3. And then we're going to, once you go down, we're going to sew until we're coming out of our 4th 11-0 on this side, which will be our middle 11-0, and then we're going to add our fire polish bead again.
How are hundreds of jewelry makers saving huge each month on premium jewelry making kits? With the Potomac Beads kit subscription, you'll receive 3 brand new kits every month for as little as $49.99. That gives you a savings of up to $70 per box on retail prices. And you get free shipping. And there's no long-term commitment. You can cancel at any time. Subscribe today and enjoy top quality kits and massive savings. Visit PotomacBeads.com/subscriptions today or click on the link below in the description to get links to get back to our website.
Okay, so once again, to add your fire polish bead, I'm coming out of my 4th 11-0 on this side, which is our middle 11-0. We're going to pick up our fire polish or 6mm bead. I'm coming out this way. I'm going to go down this way, down, of our middle 11-0 on this side. Okay, and then we're going to go back through our fire polish bead, and then we're going to go back out of the 11-0 where we started, and then the 11-0 next to that. So our 4th one is where we started, and we're going to go up our 5th one too. And remember, every time you're coming out, you should have your grouping up here, which is 2 11-0s, 1 8-0, and 2 11-0s. And on the bottom also, you should have 2 11-0s, an 8-0, and 2 11-0s. Okay, so now you're ready to do your square stitch again, and then your loop, and then continue on with the amount of fire polish beads that you need. I'm going to be doing 14 for mine. So I'm going to add all of my fire polish beads in this way, and then I will meet you back. Okay, so I finished adding all my fire polish beads, and it already looks pretty. I like it like this. I'm going to keep going, right? But I also like this. I think this looks really pretty. And in fact, I did a bracelet just with this step just with this first step for my daughter. And then she wore it to her friend's house, and someone there saw it, and they bought one because they liked it. So I made them one. And so yeah, this looks really pretty. Young girls like, real simple stuff like that. So, well, not just young girls. I think, anybody. I think this would be appropriate for anybody. So it looks cute already, but, keep going with me if you want to do a little bit more to it. So now once I finish doing all my fire polish and I came out at this end, right, of our little square stitch unit, I just sewed back down the other side, and then I sewed until I'm coming out of, I already did a couple there, until I'm coming out of these two here. So now we're going to add our crystals. All right, so very simple step. We're just going to pick up a crystal coming out of these two. 11 O's here, pick up a crystal, and then go through all of your beads until you're coming out of these two 11 O's right here on the end again. And then we're going to pick up another crystal. So this is what we're going to do all along both sides. And I'm not going to pull too tight because I want to keep the tension right. So every now and then I'm just going to do that to keep my bracelet from curving. Because sometimes when you're using one needle to do a project, if you're not careful with your tension, your bracelet could have a curve. And if you're like me, you'll find that very annoying. So in order to avoid that is to not pull too tight, and every now and then just kind of like straighten it out, and that'll keep it. So this is what we're doing. This is all the second step is, just adding our crystals on this side and then back down on this side. Once you're coming out of this last space where you added your crystal, if you don't have these beads here, you can just add them. You can add your little, you can just do your little square stitch to these three 11 O's here if you don't already have that. And then once you finish that, you can sew on over and do your crystals on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to finish adding my crystals, and then I will meet you back. Okay, so I already added all of my crystals on my sides, and once again, if you want to stop here, you can, because this also looks really pretty. So, but if you want to continue, let's continue. All right, so this was where I added my last one. I did add some more thread. I'm just gonna go sew through these beads, and I'm going to come out. I'm going to come out. Okay. We are going to be using these middle beads here, this 11-0. The 11-0, the 8-0, and the 11-0. So I'm going to sew until I'm coming out of the 11-0 right after this 8-0. So I'm going to sew until I'm coming after that 11-0 here, after this 8-0. And then we're going to be working with our 15-0 seed beads. If I can just come out of my 11-0, which I can, I'm just there we go. All right, now I'm coming out of this 11-0. From here, we are going to be working with our 15-0s, and we're going to pick up. We're gonna pick up 4, 3, 4. And I'm just checking something here on my original piece because I just want to make sure I do it the way I did my original. Okay, 4 15-0s, and we're going to sew coming out of this 11-0 here. We're going to go into this 11-0 here, which is the one before the 8-0, and then we're going to come out of the 11-0 after the 8-0. Okay, so coming out of the 11-0 after my 8-0 here, I'm going to go in through these, which is my 11-0, which is my 11-0, my 8-0, and my 11-0. And that's what I'm coming out of. And then we're just going to, they're not going to sit right. They're going to sit kind of weird, a little wonky. That's fine. We're going to fix that in our next go round. So, but I'm coming out of this 11-0 here. I'm going to pick up 4 more 15-0s. And then we are going to, I cannot see it. We're gonna, okay, 4 more 15-0s. Coming out of this 11-0 here, I'm gonna hop on over to these 3 middle ones, the 11-0, the 8-0, and the 11-0. So I'm gonna do that all the way on both sides. Just picking up 4 15-0s. And then going through those 3 middle beads. And we're just putting that like right there above our crystals, and it looks a little weird, but like I said, we are going to fix those on our next step. So continue adding your 4 15-0s all the way around, and then I will meet you back. Okay, I've already added all of my 15-0s here on the outside of my crystals, and I've already done some of my bracelet, but they're not going to sit right. There's even going to be like space, like where it looks like you need to put more seed beads because there's like thread showing. That's fine. We're going to fix that. So you need to be coming, so once you've done it, finished on both sides, you need to be coming out of sew and sew until you come out of a crystal. And the reason why I went ahead and I did part of it was to see if this would still work, because I believe the crystals I used for this tutorial are a little bit bigger than the ones I used in my original. So it still works. So once you finish, sew until you're coming out on the other side of your bracelet and follow your thread path and come out of a crystal. When you're coming out of a crystal, pick up, coming out of the crystal on this side, pick up 2 of your 15-0s. Pick up an 11-0, go down your other 2 15-0s, and then go through your crystal again, and then continue with your thread path until you're coming out of your next crystal. So that'll put a little picot just right there by your crystal. Your crystal's not going to be in the picot. It's going to be protruding from the picot a little bit, and that's fine. That's what we want. Okay, now sew, and well, the reason they're protruding is because if you're using 2x3 crystals like I am, that's how it's going to look. So if they're smaller, they're going to kind of like be inside, more like that. But that looks fine. We're still going to get a good look for when we're done. So sew until you are coming out of your next crystal. And once again, pick up 2 of your 15-ohs. See, coming out of my crystal. And then I'm circling around it to pick up 2 of my 15-ohs there. Then I'm going to pick up an 11-oh. And then I'm going to go down those 2 15-ohs, back through my crystal, and then follow your thread path again until you're coming out of your next crystal. So do this on both sides, and I will show you how to put on your clasp after that. So I've already finished, I already did part of it. I did like up to here because I just needed to see if it was going to work with these bigger crystals. And when you put it on, it's going to look, I'm kind of close. I need a, on my camera, it's kind of close, but here's how it's going to look. So we'll look at it when we're all done. Okay, I'm not quite done yet, but I wanted to show you really quick how to put on the clasp, and well, the way I'm doing it. So I already added my Picot on this side, and then I'm coming up down these, and I'm just going to go through these 3 and then come out of the second, the middle bead here. All right, and now what I'm going to do is add an 11-oh to my bead, and I already have the other part of my clasp on, so I'm just going to go through this end, go back down this 11-oh that I just added, and then I'm coming out of this middle bead here, coming out this side. I'm going to go in on this side, and I'm going to reinforce that by going through it again, and I'll probably go through it 2 more times because I'm using size 6 dragon thread, and it's rather thin, so I can go ahead and reinforce it a couple of times without worrying about breaking any beads. So in case I hadn't mentioned that earlier, I am using size 6 dragon thread for this project because we are going through these seed beads a lot. So, and I don't want to bust any, so with the size 6 dragon thread, it just, I don't have to worry about that. And it's so smooth. This thread is so smooth. So I really like using it. Okay, so that's 2 times. And then I'm going to go back up this 11-oh again through my clasp, down this 11-oh that I just added, and then through this side of this 11-oh and out through here, and then I'm just going to go through these 3. Whoop. And I'm going to continue adding my picots on this side. Okay, so here's my finished piece. I've already finished my bracelet, and all I did was tie knots right before these 8/0s, and I would bring my thread into the 8/0, and then I'd sew down to where I was before my next 8/0, and I would tie another knot. So this is what we have, or this is what I have, and you should have something similar. And like I said, the smaller crystals you use for this part, the more they will be like inside of these little picots here. So they're a little bit protruding. I don't know if you can kind of see from the side, but they don't look bad. They look, it still looks cute. I'm going to take it off, hopefully. Okay, so here we go. This is how it looks flat. Now, what I like to do before I put it on is I like to just run my fingers through the back of it like that to make sure that all my 6mm beads are you know, in line the way I like. And then when I put it on, and I have a little magnetic clasp, my Picots, your Picots will stay like hugging your wrist. Okay, so this is what I have, and you should have something similar. And I did use size 6 dragon thread because we are going through our 11/0s a lot. I did another one where I used size 8, and even though my bracelet was stiffer, you couldn't lay it flat because it was very stiff. And then I did end up breaking some beads when I was putting my clasp on. So this is another one that I made, similar colors, but I used red fire polish. And this one too looks really pretty. And see, in this one, I use a little bit smaller crystals. So they're not sticking out as much as the ones on this one, but it still looks pretty, I think. And see, this is how this one looks. So this is what we have. I hope you like this, and I hope you enjoy making it. And thank you very much for watching.